To get a little bit more information on, let's actually read that tweet that we were both sharing this morning from DeFi Zion. That's what it is. That I know I sent you.
Yep,
Because
I got it. Whoop, let me
it would
pull it
seem
up.
like a pretty good write up. It's like a few different tweets. I'll try to speed through it here. So he says, "What's actually happening with pDAI and pMaker? This thread is to provide clarity on what's been going on the last few days. Blah blah blah. I'll split this thread into multiple pieces. Okay." We'll go down to the first one below that. So, who is the 5996 dev team? The 5996 dev team we have been following since the address was created. This address is directly associated with 29AC and other addresses. You can read this for yourselves too, guys. But to a more stable tracking this since last year, which were used to facilitate the pDAI and PUSD 1-to-1 ratio, which we know that exists, leading to a more stable pDAI price. We will never have a definitive answer as to whether this dev team is a good or bad, but more evidence suggests they are a good one due to their favorable actions. Two, how is 5996 minting? This is a little bit longer than I realized.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts to it
Yeah.
that get expanded.
Maybe rather than read the entire thing, let me go down to the last part here, just the fifth one. So he says the 5996 is using one of the many vaults used to mint the initial pDAI supply. Coincidentally, about half of the vaults remain independently owned by the devs who minted the initial supply. RH is rumored to own most of that. However, a portion of the vaults had remained owned by the DSS proxy actions contract, which allowed his dev team to acquire them. I wonder why the team who minted the initial supply didn't retain complete ownership of all of them. Strange. Maybe for this exact reason, we'll never know. Lots of talk and rumors about 5996 being a bad actor. To be 100% honest, we will probably never know, but in my opinion and based on what I see, I think not. However, if he is a bad actor, RH is in control of the pMaker and can temporarily stop liquidations. Why hasn't he? What's happening with pMaker? No faces can be attached, but it's up for you to decide. RH will never come out and give us the straight answer we're looking for, so we must pick up the pieces. The pegging continues, he says, enjoy the show. So, what do you make? I know you skimmed this as well, and I do want to get into the Richard angle of this because I completely and utterly agree with what he just said, that RH is not ever going to give us an answer, and I think people are overreacting likely to one of his tweets earlier. So, what do you make of what he's saying here, though?
Well, I think because of the maker contract that gets essentially cloned, and when there's a fork, they're the same ones in control of what's going on over here. Same wallet addresses, same everything, and I'm not sure why that's not being talked about. And you know, Richard had a big portion of DAI, but I don't know that he had part of the maker. The maker part of it is, I think, what's more important than the DAI itself. So that, yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions for me and stuff that's kind of way above my head and understanding who addresses are, who they belong to, good or bad actors. But you still go back to that point where they're extracting $4 million of value to Ethereum. It doesn't seem like a step that Richard would do. He would definitely keep it on chain somewhere, and if not, what? Like, I'm just, the only thing that it would be used to bridge to Ethereum for was to pump eHex. If he was going to pump one of his coins, I don't see him sending it somewhere else to pump anything else. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm still kind of stuck on that part of why there's been so much extraction to another chain that is not his. That's kind of where I stand.
But I'll say this because there's just so many angles to this. But as far as like actually buying or investing in pDAI, which we've talked about before, and yeah, you were one of the skeptics. I think you pretty much converted when you did around the time when a lot of like skeptics started to, you know what I mean? And it was good of you, I think, because you started to look into things and educate yourself and stuff. I did, I think, a little bit before that time, and I still I still fully believe that something is at play here. And as far as the inner workings of it and the sleuthing, it's always going to be above my head. Like, I'm not going to double down and pretend that I know something that I don't, which unfortunately is what 90% of the people talking about this on Twitter are doing.